What's up, everybody? It's AdamOS Retro. We're doing another tier list here because these are kind of fun. I'm having kind of fun with them. I have a lot of knowledge on these games, so I think it's a fun little thing just so people can get, you know, just a different perspective maybe, because for some reason my perspective is always different from everyone else's. So maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. Hey, it gives you something to talk about though, right? So we did Konami last time, and Charlie decided it would be best to just then do the Ultra, because what a lot of people might not know is Ultra was the same company as Konami. Because what happened was Nintendo, when it came to third-party titles, I think it was only 5 or 6 a year that they could produce. So these companies that wanted to produce more games would come up with other company names to produce games under those companies, so they can release them the same year. Okay, what's up, man? So yeah, it's weird that they had to do that. It doesn't make any sense to me anyway. I think they just didn't want any company overshadowing Nintendo. You know, like, oh, well, they make more games than we do. I really do think it's some bullshit like that, because Nintendo to this day pumps out bullshit like that. So that's my guess, but yeah. So Ultra is technically Konami, and you'll see a lot of differences, or not differences, similarities in these games because they're developed, you know, by that. So we'll just start right out of the gate. This will be kind of a small one. There's not too many here, as you can see, but we got Base Wars. Now, Base Wars it's a baseball game, and it's all about like robots. It has a few cool little quirks to it, you know, like you can get in fights, and they're not just like fights where you slam a button. It's like, no, there's actual like HP bars based on what type of player it is. Like there's like, you know, 8 different types of robots. Each one has their strengths and weaknesses, speeds, and stuff. But that's only just like in a random really fight. And that's what I don't like about this Base Wars game. Is like the cool things about this Base Wars game hardly ever happen. You can go a whole game without getting into a fight. So other than that, it's just a really crazy, fast-paced baseball game. Yes, I have played Mario Sunshine, but we're talking NES Ultra games right here. So yeah, this game I'm going to put in the C category, because I think it really dropped the ball. Ha! Ha ha! So, but yeah, it dropped the ball because they could have made it a lot better. It's very boxy with the controls. Like, everything is real pinpoint. Like, there's really no, like, errors and shit. Like, because, you know, they're robots. It's just, you know, I wanted it to be better, but it's just not, you know. So we got Defender of the Crown. Now, Defender of the Crown is a weird game. It is a very weird game. It's like all those Koei games, which is weird that Konami, or Ultra, sorry, decided to make this game. Because if you ever played any of those Koei games, you know, that has like all the Dynasty Warriors characters in them, it's like that, but it's set in like the medieval times, and you play these like little games, you know, like I don't know, it's weird. It's like mini games meets Koei game type, and it's very boring, but it's actually not too bad. I'm going to put this in the B tier because for what it is, it's pretty good. You have to be into those kind of games, but at the same time, even if you are, it's still kind of boring. You know, and this is one of those games where, like, it's just because it was on the Nintendo that it was so boring and dry. You just only so much you can do on the NES, you know? So, this here, yeah, I'm going to put it in the B tier. Gyrus, or Gyrus, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Who cares? It's an NES game. I call it Gyrus. Gyrus. It's a shmup, but I think it's one of the best, if not the best shmup on the NES. It has this, like, view that, like, it reminds me of that old, there's an arcade game where it did that, too. Where you went around the top of it, like, it looked like you're looking into a cone, and you shoot into the center, but from all the way around, it has, like, that feel, but then, like, there's a lot of levels. There's, like, 100 levels or something crazy, and, like, there's a boss fight every so often. You can upgrade your gun once. Yeah, Tempest. Thank you, Pharaoh. Yes, it's like a better version of Tempest, and it's badass. Like, okay, so, yeah, I am putting a shmup in the S tier. Oh my gosh, right? But I have to, because it's so goddamn good. Level 19, that's all I gotta say is level 19. be prepared. Kings of the Beach. We talked about this as an example in the Konami thing, not realizing they didn't put Ultra in the Konami things. But so we brought this up. Kings of the Beach. It's a volleyball game, and they're volleyball. It's volleyball. What can you say about it? But it's actually really good. Really, really good. I love the controls. They're on point. The hit detection's perfect. The AI does just as much as they need to. It's not impossible to play with just one player versus computer. It's got a good soundtrack. It's got good graphics. Like it's another S tier. I mean, it's hard to put a volleyball game in S tier, but not after you've played Kings of the Beach. Like I'm telling you, it's a solid fucking game. If you like little sports games like this on the NES, you have to get Kings of the Beach, dude. I'm telling you. It's one of those games you'll probably only play a few rounds, maybe 15, 20 minutes. But you'll enjoy that 15, 20 minutes, and you'll enjoy it every time you play it. Like, I love playing Kings of the Beach. It kind of reminds you of tennis on Game Boy. You know, there's not much to it. You play around for 15 minutes, but you always bring it with you, you know. So, I'm with that with Kings of the Beach. Alright, so I almost said Metal Gear Solid. My 90s brain. So, yeah, Metal Gear. Konami made a lot of games like this. Well, Ultra did, sorry. Ultra actually made a lot of games like this. Under the Konami brand, not so much. But Ultra, yes, these games where like you're this badass and you have to go through it and be a badass and not be seen and try to find stuff, you know. It's an interesting game. Well, Waffle Man, you'll love these tier lists then, because I'm telling you about all these cool games. I had mentioned, I played a few. So, okay, Metal Gear. It's, God, it's like Metal Gear Solid. If you play Metal Gear Solid, it's the first of that series, so it's generally that same kind of gameplay. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like it. I think it's very boring. I don't like the whole where you give me a gun, but you punish me for using it. You know, like, I'm just not into that. But a lot of people like this game. Now, this was the first in the series. It had its flaws, you know, like, in fact, if you watch the AVGN video, I hate saying things like that in my videos, but he puts it into fine perspective. I'm going to give it a C category, because like it's not terrible. I just don't like it, and it gets very aggravating. It's one of those games that like just drive you insane trying to figure it out. And if it didn't have that factor, it would be much higher, probably in the B or A category. But, you know, hey, it's what it is. Speaking of games like that, Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible is a huge knockoff of Metal Gear, but with a different plot, obviously. Now, Mission Impossible, this does not take place after the... what does that do? The famous actor does the Mission Impossible movies now. So these are based off of like the old TV show. I think there was a TV show where the characters are different, and the Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise movies are a whole different thing. This is more like Metal Gear, where you have to be careful in what you do. It has a lot of like Hitman vibes, the series Hitman on the PlayStations. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Again, it's going in the C category because it's a hard. You know what? You know it's going in D category. Why? It's too fucking hard. It's not necessarily cryptic, but like you find yourself wondering what to do a lot. I mean, it's just not my cup of tea, man. I don't like it. Let's go in there. Nightshade. Again, another weird game by Ultra. Ultra made some weird games. I think it's good like they did that too, because Konami knew what games would be good and sell, and they kept the rest on Ultra. And Nightshade is kind of it's like a point and click sort of game. It's not a point and click game, but it's like that, where you have to like find I remember like within the first 10 minutes you have to like click on a secret spot in the wall for something to happen. Like you're stuck in a chair and you got to get out and shit. And it kind of it has a lot of vibes of like Maniac Mansion, like those kind of things. A lot of people like this game. And I get why, but I can't. I want to put it in the B category. Okay, yeah, we'll put it in B. And that's me giving it more than it should. I wanted to put it in C. and I still might. God, I don't know. Like it's. I just don't like games where there's only one solution, exact solution that like you get, because this game makes you think that there's like infinite solutions and it's a storyline, but it's not. It's very linear. You know, it's like a book, and you have to read each page in order, but you can stop anytime you want and pick up another book. It reminds me of something like that scenario. But, you know, hey. Alright, Pirates. This game's crazy. Now, this was a PC game long before it was an NES game. The NES port is actually amazing. And it was an interesting run. Like, if you play this game, you're going to get very confused on what to do. This is like the true open world sort of thing. Like, a lot of these open world games, they say that, but then it's like very linear. You have to do this next and then this. This game, you can do whatever the fuck you want. There's really no, I mean, there is an ending, but not really. You know, like you just kind of do whatever you want. You get in your ship. It almost has like a Carmen Sandiego kind of theme where like you get into a town and gives you the things you can do. Or not Carmen Sandiego. A better one would be like Oregon Trail. You know, Oregon Trail would be a great example. Like, you get to a spot, and then like in that spot, that city, you can find more people, trade your goods. You know, even get in like swashbuckling fights. Then you get on the ocean, you do this, and you essentially just do that for fun. So it's a pretty slick game. I'm gonna give it an A. The only reason I'm not putting it S is because it is very boring and long. Like, long. Like, you're going to put in so many hours, and for really no reason other than, like, bragging rights. Like, there is an ending to the game. I forget what you have to do to spawn it, but it's just one of those games that really doesn't have a purpose. You just kind of do whatever you want, which is cool. It's kind of like No Man's Land. Or No Man's Sky, sorry. No Man's Sky. If you guys know that game, which I absolutely fucking adore. So I like these kind of games. So A for Pirates. So Q*bert. Q*bert is an old arcade game that they ported to the NES. And the NES, when it came to ports, were either like amazing or shit. Like, there really wasn't too many ports that were like in the middle. You know? So this one was pretty good. And when it comes to porting, they did a pretty well job. They cleaned up the graphics a little bit, in my opinion, to make them more Nintendo-like. A man of quality, yes. I am a man of quality. So, this game here, you're a little dude and you gotta bounce on these squares and turn them all a certain color. Sometimes there's 3 colors, so that can get confusing. You have enemies that bounce around with you. You have little warp things that bring you up, you know. It's kind of like Pac-Man. Like, it has like a Pac-Man feel to it, in a sense that, like, you know, Pac-Man, you collect the shit. This, you turn the blocks, but you dodge the enemies. I mean, it's arcadey shit. We'll put it at A. It's a pretty good game, man. If you're into like arcadey games, like just quick, easy, high score point games, Q*bert's pretty goddamn cool. They got a little fun. Oh wait, you know what? The cutscenes I don't know if are in the NES game. I forget exactly. I don't think they are, so I should take that back. But I think it's an A game. It's pretty good. Roller games. Oh god, roller games. So one of the first games I ever played on this channel when I turned to a pure retro channel was roller games, and it was based on. For me, I based it on the fact that I saw the Keanu Reeves movie, and I was like, oh, this game. Well, it has nothing to do with that. They're 2 separate entities, and it shows. This game is crazy. You're on, like, rollerblades, and you're going through these levels in the city. But what makes it suck, though, is, like, it's really hard to tell what plane you're on. You know, like, you don't know exactly where you are. It reminds you of, like, remember all those Simpson games where you're on the skateboard, and they got those ramps that you go off, and you never quite know, like, when to jump. You know, like they're just kind of like it's jank, dude. This game is real jank, but without being janky. You know, like it's not janky. It's just jank in the sense that like it's not intuitive. You don't really know what you're doing exactly. It's not on Player of the Roller Boys either. No, it's not. It's its own thing, but it has a really cool idea. Like it has a good storyline to it. It's got some unique attributes. Very unique because you're on rollerblades. And it's interesting. Like it's one of those games that it would be a lot more fun if it didn't suck so bad. It had good ideas on paper. I enjoyed playing it, but I also didn't enjoy getting fucked every second. Like, it's one of those games that's like you make one wrong move and you're dead. You know, you're half a pixel off when you go to punch someone, so you miss and they punch you. You know, it's one of those games. There's a lot of, like, jank without being jank. It's just shit. And it's something that, with a little polish, would be a great game. But I'm going to have to put it in the C category, because it is a hard son of a bitch. If you don't have save states, holy shit, good luck. Because, like, it's one of those games where, like, you have to play the whole level if you die, and there's so much bullshit in each level that one of those bullshit areas are going to get you every time. So, yeah, it's just a frustrating piece of shit game. But actually, it's kind of fun. I would recommend trying it, though. Like, it's a fun game, and maybe your brain picks up on it and can figure it out, but, like, it wants to be, like, 3D, but not in 3D, and it's really odd. It's just a really odd game. Alright, so, Silent Service. Probably one of the shittiest games on the NES. It's one of those games where I absolutely hate, where most of the screen is just bullshit, and you're only looking through the periscope, and it takes up maybe a third of the screen, and then the rest of it is just bullshit underneath, like you're inside of an actual submarine, which I guess they were going for the immersion, but it sucks, because half the shit on that is just there for aesthetics. The game is real slow, real boring. Like, it reminds me of, like, Previous Conflict. Like, in the sense of, like, that's the gameplay, is you're out in the ocean, like you are in space, and you got to get to certain points, kill certain enemies on the way, you know? But they just do it really bad, really slow. We're going to go with F tier. I mean, just stay away from this garbage fire, because it's bad. It's just bad. It's bad. Even if you like those kind of games, it's bad. Like, I just don't understand. When you play that game, you'll probably agree with this statement too, that you're just not going to understand why they made it. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get, like, what they were going for, what audience would play it, you know, who would be into it. It's garbage. Alright, so Skate or Die. There's two of these games. This is the first one. The first one is like a collection of mini games. The NES almost had something for everyone, that's for sure. So Skate or Die is, yeah, it's almost like a Mario Party sort of thing, you know, like it's just like a bunch of mini games. In fact, the whole overworld is just one screen, and you go into each game. You get rated on it. Like, each game has its own rating system and points, and then, you know, it's based on getting the points. So the first Skate or Die, though, is pretty badass. It's not like 720. I think 720 is a lot better, to be honest. Skate or Die, the games kind of suck. Like the vert pipe, you know, the half pipe, oh my god. That's everyone's bane. No one can even figure out how to do a fucking trick. You try every button combination, you have no idea what you're doing, you don't land anything. It's just like one of those games that is just brutally difficult when it didn't need to be, and it completely killed the game. I'm going D tier, because even if you know how to play the game, say you know how to do each little mini game, it's one of those games, though, too, that, like, there's no reward system for it. Because, like, once you know what you're doing, you just burn through the game in 100% in a sense. You know, like there's no competition once you learn the game. Like, learning the game is the game. So, like, it's not fun. It's not fun to, like, get good at the game. Because there's no progression. It's just, like, you either don't know what you're doing and eat shit constantly, or you're like, oh, I figured it out. Do the twirls. Do the twirls. Do the twirls. First place every time. So yeah, it's just a shit game. Will you have fun with it? Yeah, maybe a little bit. That's why I didn't put it in the F tier. But, you know, it is what it is. It was a really cool idea, but a real shitty game. And then they made a second one. They added RPG elements to it. They fixed up the graphics. It looks a little more realistic, you know. It actually looks like a character other than just a graphic of a character. You go around and you talk to people, so it's a little different. But, dude, yeah, it did have a rad cover, I'll give you that. The cover was pretty cool. I was a skateboarder, so I liked it for that. But the game, though, in Skate or Die 2, it's kind of the same bullshit. It's just like a cleaned up, polished version of the same bullshit. So I'm going to put it in the C category, because without getting into, like, why, it just know that it's, like, only a slightly better version of the first one. But it still sucks. It still sucks. I hate it. It sucks. What can you do, though? You know? Alright, so, here we go. Snake's Revenge. This is number 2 in the series of Metal Gear. So, again, they did a Skate or Die. They just made a slightly polished, better-looking version of the first game. But it actually is pretty good. in comparison to the first game. Is it like have to go out and get? No. It has the same kind of premise. You know, there's missions, you do them. Cool beans. Don't get shot. Don't get seen. It is a little faster paced. I think the game itself had a lot of better level design and stuff. You know, like it felt better to play this game. Whereas like the first Metal Gear, you can tell it was the first of its kind and they didn't know what they were doing. So this one I'm gonna put in the B tier. I should put it in A, but I just personally don't like it. I don't like these games. So that already puts like a grudge to me, you know, in it. So yeah, check it out. If you like those kind of games, definitely I would recommend Snake's Revenge over Metal Gear. It's just a more polished game. I'm just not into them. So StarTech 25th anniversary. This is not next gen. This is a 25th anniversary of the series that was made in, I think, 1969. But, you know, the first gen of Star Trek. You know, Spock and Kirk and all them. And Scotty. So, this game, though, is insanely cryptic. Insanely cryptic. It's one of those games where they even tell you what to do. Like, hey, we need a sample from this plant. But good luck figuring out how the fuck to get it. Or, like, there's one level where it's just all over the place. You gotta get this to do this to this to give to this guy to get to this to do this. You know, it's one of those games. And, oh my god, does it suck. Like, it's on, like, a grid, which I hate. Like, you control your character, and it seems like it should be fluid, but it's not. It's, you know, like, you could only go on, like, think of a grid pattern. And what sucks is the enemies don't do that. The rest of the game doesn't do that, so it's really fucked up. The AI is just unbearable. They just don't know what they're doing. The AI, I think they forgot to program the AI. Like, I think they programmed them enough to put them on the screen to test it, but then forgot to, like, go back and reprogram it. So this game is going in F tier. Like, it sucks, because I love Star Trek. And I would love a game like this. Who wouldn't? If you love Star Trek, they actually had the right idea for the game. You know, just going to different worlds, finding different things, all that shit. But, I mean, they dropped the ball on that game. It is such a dumpster fire. Dude, it's so bad. It's just so fucking bad. And you can try and play it. I dare you to try and play it. If you're a Star Trek fan, you'll like the cutscenes and the whole premise, because it's like playing an episode out of the show. But, oh my god. Good luck even passing the first mission. That's all I gotta say. Good fucking luck. So, we're gonna end with the Turtles games. Okay. Wait, what just happened? I love this song. Alright. Yeah, it was brutal. I'm telling you, it's brutal. So, they had two games. Two completely different Turtle games. This one's the arcade game. Again, a port from the arcade game. Now, this port was amazing. Holy shit, amazing. I mean, when you port things to the NES, it can get a little rough, you know? Like it's not the same as like a PC or an arcade. So this game though, oh my god, dude. Now the colors were a little bit weird. I don't like the colors, but you know, you do what you gotta do. They couldn't really shade much and stuff. But other than the colors, the control is great, the gameplay is great. It is like a pure reenactment of the arcade game. It's solid, dude. It's fucking solid. You can play it with 2 players, which is cool. Can't do 4. But that's because they actually tried to do 4, but the sprite limits made it impossible. Like, you couldn't actually do it. Yes, I did play Pirates before. I didn't get too far in it, though. But yeah, so this game is definitely S tier. Now, is it a direct port of the arcade so that you can play both equally? No. I would still recommend the arcade. The arcade's much better. But this one is great. For an NES port, it's fantastic. It can't get any better. I don't know any flaws in the game other than it's a little bit difficult, but because it's not as hard as the arcade, but it's still pretty goddamn hard. You just got to get used to doing the double hit, the that spin that you hit both buttons at the same time or kind of close. If you get used to that, you can burn through this game pretty good. Yeah, most people don't know what to do in Pirates. That's why I put it where it was. It's just, but you have time to figure it out, you know. So Turtles 1. So this game this game is kind of, what would you say? It's kind of hard to rate for some people because everyone thinks it's really hard, and it is. It's a very difficult game, but once you figure it out, it's not so bad. But there are certain levels that just destroy you, like the Technodrome in this game. I mean, come the fuck on. There's that one corridor in the Technodrome where the flying dudes come at you. There's stuff here. It's impossible. I still, to this day, I've never beaten this game without save states. I don't think I ever will. This will just be one of those games I'm going to have to chalk up to too fucking hard. And a lot of people remember this, like the level of the dam where you have to swim, which I'm trying to remake in Mario, but I can't figure out how to turn the level into a swimming level, or the backgrounds. But, you know, it's a very iconic game. I have a lot of fun with this game. I really do. I think it's a great game. I like how you switch between the turtles and stuff. A little too brutal, so I'm going to have to put in the B category, because it's a good game. I actually really love this game. I would really love to be able to beat it, but it's just too fucking hard. It's too fucking hard. Some of the places are just impossible, and I think that really takes a hit. Because, I mean, a challenge is a challenge, but impossible is impossible. So, yeah, So here's our Ultra tier list. I mean, it's technically Konami, so we had to expect most of the games are going to be good. You know, I like that we have a sports game and a shmup in the S tier, because, you know what, Konami knew what the hell they were doing, you know. So, yeah, few bad games. I hated putting Star Trek there, but it is what it is. I can't give it a good rating because it's a Star Trek. You know, so I think we did pretty fair on here. So if you like that tier list, let me know. If you have any, I guess you can say any complaints about what I put and where, throw that in the comments as well. I had to do Ultra because we did Konami, but I'm free for any ideas you have from tier lists. I'm gonna do all the NES games. So which ones would you want to see next? You know, do that like, subscribe, follow thing. All the links are always down below. And until next tier list, guys, we'll see you. Peace.